You are now fixated on the finest quality of educated and opinionated brothers, black brothers, who take the free time you most have generously donated to us and curate a channel free of fuckery or bullshit and write with wisdom and insight. We turn spoils to royal, we turn doodles to murals, we turn dollars to euros, weed to florals, or florals to weed, whatever you need. We proceed to give you these
and many, many more motherfucking episodes.
What's going on? It's your boy Nikki Duce, aka Mr. No Disrespect, and you're now tuned into No Disrespect. How y'all doing?
What's goody? What's goody? Saturday night.
I hate when he says it.
Says what?
Just get
To my baby, I'm baking. Oh, what's happening, y'all? What's good, man?
We got
Wake up, counting chili.
Bruh, he kills me with. I hate that.
I hate it too.
I hate it, bro.
Y'all love it,
but
man.
it's your boy
I'm saying
Chill.
you hate it.
Yeah, I was about to say we got Chill in the building.
You already know I'm on
Is
here.
Doe coming through or is it pending?
Doe is on the way.
Okay, so he's not coming.
Like
so
he's
he's
not
He's
coming.
on the way like a lost UPS shipment.
Doe left first.
So we may have Doe joining us, but which I actually want to get his thoughts on what we got to talk about. But how's y'all week been going?
Mine's been pretty damn good, man.
I'm just ready for some turkey, man. I'm ready to get the hell up out of work.
Yeah, as we're recording, this is the Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Thank God, man. I'm ready to eat.
Y'all going back to Cincy, right?
Yeah,
Yep, we're gonna
back
be
to
in the city.
boy.
Holla at us.
I'm
This is
pulling
gonna
up.
be out before the.
I'm pulling up
holidays.
to this straight to a bar in Cincinnati. 12 a.m. Thanksgiving morning.
Oh, for real?
Hell yeah, I'm going straight to a bar.
Thanksgiving
That's
morning?
a tradition at this
Was it
point.
are the bars even open Thanksgiving morning?
Boy, they
No.
open.
Bro, what?
They open.
On Thanksgiving morning.
Go to Clifton. 12 a.m. They
Clifton
out.
has probably changed since.
They
Oh,
out.
wait. You mean from Wednesday turning to Thursday?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be.
I'm thinking you're actually talking about Turkey Day.
Nah, I'm talking about actually going into Thursday.
So basically, Wednesday night.
Wednesday night going to Thursday.
So basically, you're drunk. That's what you're trying to say.
You're going to get a late start to Wednesday night.
No, I'm getting an early start to Thanksgiving Day. All right, we're getting straight into it.
It is customary.
I'm thankful.
I have to be a little drunk at that dinner table. If I'm not kind of slouched over, like taking deep breaths after I eat because I'm out of breath because I'm drunk, it's not Thanksgiving.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
That's-
thankful.
I can't do that because I'm going to see my sister and my nieces. So if I'm the
Right.
drunk one in there, yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Man,
I'm
he
gon-
be trying to act like a black Republican on here, bro. Why are you so too technical with your family, but then with us, you just give us all the nigga
Because I'm the
side?
black sheep of my family. All right.
You don't even let them
You're
support,
more than black.
You don't let them support the real you, bro.
Nah, they know about it. My sister's heard this podcast before,
Basically,
and that's all she said. She said, "I've heard it. I'm listening to a couple of episodes." She was like, "But yeah." Anyway,
what else are you doing? You're doing something else, right?
so yeah, they don't.
Hell
Yeah,
nah.
I would hate for my mama to hear what I had to say on this, but. Shout out to the One Solid Clan. We out here. You know what I'm saying? We in Charlotte. Yeah, she
Can't
actually,
even drink in front of his sisters during Thanksgiving. That don't even sound like.
No, we could.
Wow.
I could drink. I just can't be drunk. You know, it's gonna be me and my nieces and my brother-in-law and my sister. Nah, it ain't the scene.
They're old enough.
I have
to know.
nobody to play off of.
They're old enough.
Damn, I'm having Thanksgiving with my girl's family, so obviously all of that shit I just said holds true. Tenfold, like I gotta be lit at the dinner table. I'm about to try to swing a blunt. I'm about to try to see if they smoke. You know, I'm gonna try to open this family up. It's about time I rub the Swafford essence on this family. God damn it! I've only met a couple of them on that side. Now it's time to really dig
And
my
they're gonna be
dig
done.
my fingers.
They're gonna be done by Christmas.
Yep,
That's what
it
he said.
sounds like he just fucked up that family experience.
Let's
Tune
just
in.
make it to Thanksgiving.
Tune in next episode to hear what happened.
Maybe we can make it to Christmas. Actually, speaking of that, that's
I
a
was gonna
Kanye
say, yeah,
line.
that was yeah. Speaking of
Touche.
that, we're coming to the end of the decade, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like from 2020, 2010, 2019, it's been an interesting 9 to 10 years. And the most interesting person of this decade, I would say, or at least top 3, is Mr. Kanye West himself.
Mr. West.
Woo! Are you gonna do the random Kanye West quotes throughout this?
You know what? I think I just might.
All right, bro.
Why did you
brought
bring it up?
Glad you brought it up, bro.
I actually just want to hear what he's gonna do.
Bro, I'm getting too black. For
But
this.
the reason why we, of course, this isn't really more about like us just talking about Kanye.
Instagram took your bed.
This is more of an assessment. The same way we did with Lil Wayne. This is more of an assessment of this particular chapter in Kanye West's career or life, because I would probably suggest this is the most interesting part of his life. From
Yeah.
where he started in 2010 to where he's at now.
I'll give it to him.
This is the most divisive, the most
He continues to
diabolical.
reinvent himself, doesn't he?
No, he continues to surprise me. I'm
Yes,
on
that's
my
what I was-
fucking toes. I don't know what you. Soon as you think Kanye's out of tricks, he just goes right back in his bag, throw another one at your ass, just
So-
cause.
so the so the first question I got for y'all, we all grew up on Kanye. What was the first? Do you know your first Kanye moment, or the first time you really noticed the nigga?
That's a good question.
I'll start. The first time I noticed him was Jesus Walks, which was obviously his first biggest hit. And then from there, I didn't really get into Kanye until graduation for real. So I noticed him Jesus Walks because it was the first time I was like, bro, I'm hearing some, somewhat Christian stuff that doesn't sound like gospel rap, but it was just like, it was interesting. It was been playing on the radio. I was like, that was weird, or that was unique. And then later on, when I really started getting into hip hop more, because I didn't really get into hip hop until like high school when I met y'all. And then graduation came out, and I was like, all right, that was when he was going against 50 Cent, because I was a big 50 Cent fan.
Yeah, that was like,
Oh yeah.
I was a big 50 Cent before that graduation album. So I was bumping, Get Rich or Die Trying. That was my shit. So when he was going against Kanye, it was like, all right, bro, 50 gonna win easy. But then I had shout out to Samira
You was
Washington.
tripping.
Samira Washington, she was like, nigga, you fooling. Kanye is the next biggest thing. And then
Come on.
ever since then, bro, she's been right and wrong.
Wow. Shamira Washington.
yeah.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to her. But yeah, that was my. What about y'all?
I think my first one, I remember when I was a kid riding with my cousins, listening to that Through the Wire on the radio. And I didn't know who that was for a minute, you know what I'm saying? And then when I actually put a face to it, I was like, okay, that's Kanye West. I was like, I like this beat, like the sample, you know what I'm saying? And then, like you said, it's blurred. All I remember is Jesus Walks and then Diamond Walks Forever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just remember them two main primarily. I'm like, man, all right, I gotta go through the whole catalog. Yeah. And then by the as far as for like College Dropout and then Late Registration, I was already a fan by then.
Yeah, that was Gold Digger and shit like that.
Yeah, and then all his main hits, we grew up through them. And then as far as for by the time I got to Graduation, I think that's the best Kanye album. Side note, but I was a lifelong fan.
We gonna get to his discography. What about you, Suave? You got anything off the top?
Yeah. Obviously Through the Wire, but that's not what put me on to him. What really put me on to him was the Kanye workout plan. Hey,
that Michael
I don't
Jackson
know why
breakdown at the end.
Yeah, bro, the shit was just.
I hated that song.
It was well put together for me, bro. Like,
I hated
something
that
about it
song.
was just quirky, but it was also like he had bars in it, but it was like putting a little bit of humor to the shit. Even at the end of the music video, it had like these little. Like, it had a miniature skit at the end of the music video.
Bruh, what's her name? Tracy Ellis Ross was in that video. I didn't know her.
Showed a lot of love. She was looking good too.
She look good now still. Shout out to Tracy Ellis Ross.
She look older.
Yeah, she look older.
But yeah, I was just trying to see where y'all started at. So obviously, like Willie, you were saying, like 2010s was like, that was like our adult years, because that was a year before we graduated high school, going into college, and then that's where we get to where we transition to now. Before I get into more about Kanye and our perception of him, what is y'all viewpoint on forgiveness? Because I feel like when you talk about Kanye, you got to have that in the back of your mind for some reason. And I'll explain later, but go ahead.
What's our viewpoint on forgiveness?
Just forgiveness itself. Not about with Kanye. We'll get to that, but like, just how do you view forgiveness? What does that mean to you?
It can be a number of things. I definitely say forgiveness can be a lifelong lesson. Definitely a release as far as for yourself, and you not holding anything back, any regret, any aggression, anything like that, pretty much to prevent you from moving forward. I think that's what forgiveness is, to whatever extent that it could be, because it could be, very extreme cases where you could forgive somebody, and then, a lot non-extreme. So I feel like pretty much it is pretty much you just releasing and letting things go, and moving on. I think that's pretty much the theme of forgiveness, at least how I look at it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna piggyback off that because that, in essence, is kind of how I see forgiveness as well. Now, how I apply it is different. I apply it in kind of like two fashions, whether it be forgiveness for something that's been directly done to me or forgiveness for something that's just been done. So, and if we were to apply it to different things, if you wronged me, then that's a different type of forgiveness rather than if you're doing wrong. It has nothing to do with me, but you're just doing wrong, and I see that, and it has me conflicted. So I kind of put it on a scale. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have all the reasons not to keep fucking up and making the same mistake, I'm not going to continue to forgive you. But if circumstances lead to this and lead to that, and I can justify it in my mind, I can rationalize it, then I'm more than likely going to forgive somebody more and more often, and they'll have more chances with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if we're gonna, what about you before we tail this?
And well said, and also God, to those who are spiritual, definitely God is forgiveness. Definitely following that light. Of course, that's the obvious answer, and I feel like that's always applied. But sometimes you got to put that to people. You know how we are, but
right.
Not everybody thinks like us.
And
So
all of us at this table, we do go by Christianity as far as like our moral compass. For those of you who don't, this conversation, you still should be able to get something out of it. But for me, I think forgiveness is something that isn't guaranteed, but it's something that is necessary if you want to progress in life as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's not guaranteed because, like the great philosopher Rick Ross said, God forgives, I don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. Some people choose not to.
Quoting a fat fuck as a philosopher.
First of all, bro,
Ross been working.
Yeah, I'll say he's Slim Ross. He got Ross fit. But no, but it's not guaranteed. Like you don't have to forgive anybody, but in order to move past the situation, in order to grow and to learn, learn a mature way of life, you have to at one point in your life you're gonna have to forgive somebody. Somebody's gonna wrong you in your lifespan.
Of course. Whether
it's something small as stealing something from you or a somewhat of a betrayal, you're gonna have to deal with that, and however you deal with that will, I would assume, pivots you on your growth as a person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because some things can hold you back. Most people, that's what we talk about a lot in our conversations on the side when we talk about our relationships and stuff like that. There's certain relationships where like we wish things were done a little bit different, and we may, or in another note, like maybe things that we should have done different, which they would forgive us for. So I asked that because when we talking about Kanye, like this decade, he started off hot. You know what I'm saying? Like 2010 was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You know what I'm saying? And I think we all were around, like we all talked about it at the time. Like visually, the one thing that I remember is him at the VMAs. You know what I'm saying? At the MTV, like remember he came out on stage, it was dumb bright. And he was in that yellow. He was in that Eddie Murphy red type, leather suit and shit.
That's when he had the beatbox out. Yeah, and it was all white. This
is when he came.
Didn't he even have the gloves on?
I think so. He might have had some motorcycle gloves or something like that. But it was this was after 808s on Harvard. This is his first big project after 808s, and you know how 808s was a mixed review at the time. I liked it, but some people were like, "Nigga, you go from graduation to 808s. That's a huge jump."
It was trash.
It was not trash. That was again one of his innovative experimental albums, and it was gold. It set the foundation for what music became in the upcoming
It set the foundation for hip hop 10 years later.
It set the foundation for Kid Cudi continue.
No, Kid Cudi actually helped him out a lot with that.
Exactly.
They set the foundation
for Kid Cudi.
A lot of these artists out here today, hottest ones, took from that.
Ohio native Kid Cudi, shout out to him. But yeah, everybody was like, man, I want Kanye to go back to his regular shit, rapping shit. And that's exactly what he did. But he took it to another level because I think at the time everybody loved it. But even now, looking back on it, that may be his best album as far as quality. You may have your own favorites, but as far as quality from production, lyrics, features, sequencing, all that shit, all the music talk, it has it.
I disagree, but continue.
But I'm saying that he started off with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then like a year later, he dropped Watch the Throne with Jay-Z. Like,
oh yeah.
Even that Watch the Throne set the tone for all those collaboration hip hop albums that came after that shit too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like this nigga started off flaming.
The double duo was just insane.
And it was Jay-Z and Kanye.
And it was the two biggest. You got the biggest rap star, the biggest artist, slash producer, rap genius. Go ahead and oh my God. And then you got Beyonce on a couple of sprinkled
and
in.
then they got an early Frank Ocean. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
and I
gosh,
hate
man.
and
Bangers.
on a side note, everybody was talking about like when Frank Ocean first came out as bisexual or gay, that nobody in hip hop was fucking with him. Like he was on this album after that. You know what I'm saying? Like they was still like Jay-Z. You don't get much bigger in hip hop than Jay-Z and Kanye at that time. So it was just more of like I don't know why.
I think Beyonce definitely helped a lot in that. You know what I'm saying? But
I think she helps in everything that Jay-Z do.
you know, I mean, I disagree. But when it comes to as far as for the Watch the Throne, that was definitely a pillar. I feel like definitely quality-wise, what you were saying earlier, that could meet that threshold as well. I guess you can't just say it's just Kanye's, but at the same time, it's like Kanye did that. It was revolutionary.
Yeah.
And nobody else has done nothing like that. I feel like 2 stars has ever did nothing like that. Ever. I can't even think of any. Can y'all? I can't even think.
Are you talking about stars at
2 stars.
like at that level
At that level, collabing, making an album together.
Future and Drake.
Nah, that was
What a
after.
time to be alive.
That was after.
You and yours, but me and mine. Are we talking tens?
And I ain't even think Future was big for. I mean, he big, but he ain't Drake big.
Well, that was after
You know
Dirty
what I'm
Sprite.
saying?
That was after
Now
Dirty Sprite
he's
2.
Drake big.
No,
when
but
they started,
at
you
that
feel
time,
me?
that was after Dirty Sprite 2, so he was big at that time.
I was about to say, I think in that situation, Drake was Jay-Z and Kanye was Future. Kanye was still bigger than Kanye. I mean, Jay-Z was still bigger than Kanye, but Kanye brought his own fan base, his own platform. Same way Future did.
I don't
Future-
know about that.
I actually think Future was better than Future stands out more than Drake on that project.
Nah.
Cause I feel like it was
No way.
it was I feel like it was Drake going into Future's world than the reverse. Because if
I
you're the
agree.
bigger artist, cause like Kanye took a back seat to that Watch the Throne. Like he was just like
Production.
obviously that was some of the best raps we heard Jay-Z. Cause before that album, Jay-Z had Blueprint 3, which was if you revisit that album, it's
Yeah.
trash after the
Yeah.
first 3 songs.
You said Blueprint 3?
Yeah.
I don't know about
No, it's
trash.
not. What
I
are
don't know
you-
about trash.
Right. What are you saying?
When was the last time
bruh?
you listened? When the last time you listened?
I
to it?
listened. That's the one I listened to the most from
When was the
Jay-Z.
last time you listened to it? That's what
This
I asked.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ain't never brought it up. You
I
ain't
just
never-
brought it up last week.
What song?
When I was bringing up the on to the next one.
You was, yo, we did argue this in the crib.
I wasn't there.
Yes, you were.
I was not there. Nonetheless, what I was saying is that with Kanye, it was like he was in a really good pocket, and I think we were excited about, all right, what's to come, what's next to come, and then that's kind of like after that it really kind of goes off course, because I think we go into Yeezus, and then I think we go into Pablo, and then we go into other things, and then we have Cruel Summer in there. Like there's a lot of things that kind of got sidetracked a little bit. But what are y'all perceptions of that first half of the decade from 2010 to 2015 of Kanye?
That's why I was saying he was making himself one of the hottest in the game. He was going to rival Drake.
How is he going to rival Drake when Drake just dropped in 2010?
That's what I'm saying. Drake was when Drake dropped Thank Me Now.
Thank Me Later.
I mean, he was projected, like, at that point, he was already picking up speed. He was already picking up traction. Kanye was just getting in the fold. Like, he was, I think, considered the best artist in my eyes. I was thinking he was the best artist at that time.
He just
Kanye?
plateaued,
Kanye.
and he got comfortable for a couple of years. You feel me?
Right. And so
After graduation.
I had the mentality he was going to sustain that. And me feeling like I was like one of the up and up on finding Drake. Like I heard his early shit, and I was one of the earlier people talking about him. I feel like around at least motherfuckers I was hanging with. And so I was thinking he was going to be the next best big thing. And I was always going to think, all right, it's going to be Kanye and Drake. You know, other players came into the fold and all that shit, but I didn't see any other 2 artists that had as much potential as Drake and then was doing the shit like Kanye. So he was the elitist in that time frame you're talking about. To me, he was the elite.
I would say from 2010 to 2015, I feel like Kanye as a whole, he was going through a lot of issues, and he was lost. Absolutely. I think that's the climax of his loss between coming out of 808, going into My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. At the same time, it's the peak of his creativity, I feel like.
Because when did he lose his mom? Was that after? That was after graduation, right?
I believe it was after graduation.
Yeah.
Just right after it.
And that was just before Dark
or at least
Twisted-
right after it was recorded. I can guarantee that.
It was. Yeah, it was between graduation and Dark Twisted Fantasy, because that's when he had that Taylor Swift moment and all that stuff around that time. Yeah.
And he was going through a dark time, and so you can tell through his records it was a lot of pain, a lot of creativity from the pain as well. I really didn't mesh with the album at first. It took me a couple of years for me to actually go back and listen to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and be like, I still don't like it. I like it way better than 808 and Heartbreak, and I rank it definitely as far as for his top 4, top 3 albums he's ever made. I could definitely put that up there. But I just feel like he was in a dark time, dark place. But things was just going well for him as far as for musically. And he was just
like
really.
That's typical, ain't it? Like when an artist gets to that peak, you start seeing signs of them cracking personally.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like, but what was the sign for you? Was it his mom dying, or was it more of him hitting his plateau?
No, it was, of course, it's his mom dying. That was the number one thing, bro. You could just tell from the music, his swag, everything. It just changed. It just morphed. You know what I'm saying? And this is excluding like his sexual life or like who's he's intimate with. Like it's just you don't know what he's going through in that aspect. I feel like Kanye, he claims he's a genius, but he's pretty much just putting a whole bunch of compartments. You know what I'm saying? And each separate one has its own lock and its own different mechanism. And so for Kanye, he was just darking all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like his whole world was just, but the dopeness was still there. Like, the talent,
right.
You couldn't deny it. But I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, he was at his peak musically. And I feel like he was never going to – I thought he was never going back, like he was ever going to fall off. I think he was going to be legend from there on out. Like,
because
that kind of cemented him.
And I was going to piggyback on that because it's like I think he had to kind of embrace that darkness in his life because look at the shit it was producing.
Yeah.
Like it was he was coming out with gold dwelling in that dark space.
Well, don't we always say that about artists? Especially I know they say it about Mary J. Blige. Like, you make your best music when you sad
when you
you fucked up.
And
or like
it
on drugs
true
and
for
shit.
him. Like, I mean, in his
He was on
words,
drugs.
he was Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google.
He was just saying random shit at that
He
point.
literally-
he was just
Xbox.
Knicks. Who's gonna let me create? Who's gonna let me be Pablo?
but that first 5 years was magical. It was a magical ride, right?
And he's a jackass, too.
But we gonna get to that because I don't think. But he's always been a jackass, right?
No.
Has he? What do you mean no?
When did that Bush thing come out?
That was like
Obama wasn't elected yet.
yeah,
It was start of 2010.
because Bush was from 2000 to 2008. So and Kanye came out in 2004 as far as established artist. So it was
He
between
already-
2004 and like 2008.
So that's when he said Bush. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
been a jackass. Keep going.
That's what I was saying. But like
It was the truth.
But he
He
was
was
the
a
jackass that
George
we all.
Bush doesn't care about black people.
Okay, we all know the quote, bro. You
I
gotta.
literally-
All right,
I-
you
I just
clearly
said it.
aren't. Yeah, you clearly aren't prepared this time for unless. So you can stop with the quotes.
I'm getting the best ones out the way now, just so y'all won't bitch and complain.
But
like
we
last time.
loved that Kanye then though, right? We allowed him to be that jackass because we felt like he was the unapologetically unfiltered nigga that we wanted in the room.
Touche.
You know what I'm saying? Like you want this. He was the
Keep it real.
hip hop Malcolm X. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Well
and
said.
we championed him at that point because at that point, like you said, he was at his musical peak or getting to that, and he was speaking for black folk. You know what I'm saying? And he was also representing a demographic that related to us more than anything else. Like even though I was a big 50 fan, like I couldn't really relate to that shit. He's from New York and he talking about gangster shit.
Right.
Kanye's from Chicago, the Midwest, where I'm from, and he's talking about dropping out of college and trying to do things
Pursuing
on his
my
own.
dreams and
Exactly. That's some shit that I can even anybody can relate to. It's an American dream.
Yeah.
So I obviously gravitated towards that, but going into this decade, obviously going into my more mature years, there was, I think we've all acknowledged there was a slight change, but we didn't really see that change really take effect until Yeezus, I feel like, which was like 2013. and then going into the next half of the decade from 2015 to now, that's when we see like, okay, this is the path that he took. Obviously, looking at Kanye now compared to going into 2010, it's a completely different. It's like almost some Two-Face Harvey Dent shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the nigga is completely different. We talk about his mom being the biggest influence, but what about the people around him? What do y'all think about that?
During when?
During post Watch the Throne, so after 2011.
The people around him. I mean,
I feel like his circle got smaller. I feel like he took out the niggas that he grew up with. I feel like he was slowly getting detached. We talk about him getting to his peak fame, being at his peak fame. You know what they always say: the higher you climb up, you know what I'm saying, the more lonely it gets up top, or the more isolated you feel like you are. I feel like
he probably and just kept it. He probably took away the people who was telling him what he needed to hear, and he kept all the yes men around. And then when he realized that the yes man was really getting him into an even more deeper hole, he probably cut them out as well. Now when you get in isolation and you're on an island, you know what I'm saying, he already a crazy ass nigga. We already know that. But then now you isolate and everybody calling you crazy, you acting crazy. Now you ask yourself, damn, well shit, am I crazy? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why he started getting on medication and shit like that. And I feel like we'll really flip the script for him as far as for really change the narrative. And this some people could say it was good, some people could say it's bad. I think it was good for him actually. But I think when he finally got in a relationship with Kim Kardashian, and when they took that seriously and he got married to her, I feel like that's when he kind of like,
were y'all surprised
he
by that?
had something to live for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody was talking to him, like somebody actually showed genuine affection for him.
Was you surprised by that Kim relationship?
No.
Or
Kim
was
was
it
with everybody.
Or was it a progression? Because it was like he went from, I think he was engaged to someone during the time his mom passed. It was a black woman, and he broke it off. Obviously,
Kim was engaged to an NBA, but who was it? Humphreys. It lasted a month.
Yeah, but I'm saying like,
off,
he went from that girl to Amber Rose, who was like the muse of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then he went to Kim. It was like it was a progression. You know how they always say black men have a progression towards to get to white women. He kind of got there, you know.
I feel it, yeah.
In like a 4-year span, and I was surprised by it because I'm like, bro, Kanye super black. I thought.
I mean, he was probably fucking with hella black bitches and just.
No, but I'm just saying like
this was predictable, bro. Matter of fact, he predicted it.
I
think I fell in love with a porn star. Hell of a life, bro. He literally said he was going to fall in love with a porn star. He mapped out the whole shit he did with Kim, matter of fact. So this isn't something coming out the blue. He's been showing little signs of this shit. No, I'm not surprised he went for Kim.
So we have a guy who was...
She's such a fucking hoe and he loves it.
So we have a guy who's at the top in early 2000s or mid-2000s. Or on his way to the top in the mid-2000s. Gets to the top at the beginning of the decade.
Yeah.
And then somehow, some way starts getting more darker and more isolated.
Right.
And then we get to the Life of Pablo era where it seems like he's trying to find God because his relationship with Chance, because Chance blows up in between that time or, you know, after rap kicks off. And then we find out who Chance is. He's a really spiritual guy. And then we get, I think Kanye was supposed to come out with a different album, but when he was talking with Chance or whatever, he was getting the vibe from his shit. And he was like, fuck it, I'm going to redo this shit.
Well, I feel like that Chance definitely played its part and kind of rubbed off some things, maybe a couple private talks behind closed doors. I'll also say within that span between him dropping The Life of Pablo post, what was
Yeezus.
it? Yeezus, yeah. That's when he actually got married to Kim. He had his first baby, you know what I'm saying? Now some things is changing in his life. Now he has something to live for. I feel like that kind of also inspired him as well. That mixed in with, you know, with the right people, you know, like a Chance who, you know, trying to talk to you. Then Kurt Franklin, he was on that album. Yeah. Now you talking with Frank. You know what I'm saying? You getting some positive energy, good vibes, and now he's starting to go out vibes. He's getting energy. Like, this is what I need in my life, and then like, no matter what. And
then one of his most important idols, Jay-Z, he's settling down. He's really settling down. I'm talking about the family doubling. He's really setting an example for Kanye. It's just the things around him started to turn, and you can kind of see how he was reflective.
But even though Jesus Walks was his first single, when was it like, you wouldn't say he was a Christian rapper, of course. You know what I'm saying? Or like I know spirituality.
He is a Christian
Who's a rapper?
and he's a rapper. Yes.
But yeah, we know spirituality is always in through hip hop. But for him, it was like this album, Life of Pablo, was setting the tone for what it is to come. And I'm wondering, like, could you relate to that mindset of Kanye when it comes to turning over a new leaf for God? Because like we talked about, he lost his mom, and I think everybody talks about we don't think that he dealt with that in a healthy way.
He did not. If he's still fucking him up,
and
to this day.
And now I think he was at a breaking point to where he had to turn to God. But like, do you relate to that mentality? Did it seem genuine at the time when you heard the first song on Life of Pablo, Ultralight Beam?
That was the only song that gave me any indication that he was going in this direction. Like as far as like actually trying to release a Christian or gospel album. Like I wasn't seeing that necessarily coming. I was seeing reports and blogs talking about it. I didn't believe that shit though. That first song, it did have Kurt Franklin on it, had Chance on it, but after that, it just got. I mean, if I get bleach on my T-shirt, I'm gonna feel like an asshole. Like that was the damn near the next song type shit.
There was an interlude called Low Lights with, I think it's Kelly Price, and she's doing like pretty much a testimony.
Yeah.
And the beat was fire in the background.
And he wasn't on it?
He wasn't on it.
Okay, so.
But he was trying to give those, like Willie said, like he's a vibe person. I realized that in every state, we talk about Kanye has always reinvented himself. It's because I believe it's more about the people around him.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And he needs to feed off inspiration
to
make his music, and he needs the right people around him. I mean, when Ultralight Beam came on, I'm not gonna lie to you, I just didn't.
You didn't like that it had cussing in it, right? That was one of your critiques. I remember you saying.
I mean, yeah, that's a light critique. But Chance did, but that's a light critique. But nevertheless, you already know I have a background in music, and I'm just all about feeling and just emotions in music. So I really like to feel. I don't know, the song it didn't feel right. It just didn't, like, you know what I'm saying?
Because of him or because of the?
I just don't. Both. Like, the song just didn't feel right. Like, I downloaded the whole album, deleted the first song. Like, fuck this song. This is not even a part of the album. Just go right into the Metro Boomin joint.
That's a lot of people's favorite track on that album.
I know.
First song?
Yeah,
that is my favorite.
But everybody's different, bro. Now I feel like everybody's not, you know what I'm saying, spiritually woke.
Why did you
know what I'm
think
saying?
It was disingenuous? The reason why you don't?
I feel like Kanye is a muse, and I'm not saying he's doing things on purpose. What I am saying is that I feel like spiritually he's weak. And so, I definitely do believe in the spiritual realm. And if you are weak from that aspect, and then to have a platform like his and a talent like his, and to be contagious as he is, and to really emote that into people's everyday listening, I don't know what to feel. Like, it just didn't feel right, bro.
Well,
like, I give credit where credit is due. I ain't saying a man can't change. What I am going to say is I always go by the feeling, and it just didn't feel right to me.
During that time, he was doing a lot of interviews. That was probably the most, I guess, because growing up with Kanye, I didn't really pay attention to his interviews until like this decade. I didn't realize how all off the wall he is, and not to say that he says a lot of crazy shit, because we'll get to that.
He says.
But I'm just saying. But at the time, I was just like, is this how people musically think and talk? Because to make a hit after hit after hit, and not just with yourself but with everybody, you got to think differently. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Like, we all, like, there's certain people that are super talented, and we just let them cook. You know what I'm saying? You got those people who can just play the piano but are socially awkward. You know what I'm saying? Or those people who can like Kawhi Leonard, he could play basketball like no one else, but he's not the first person you think about when you want
to invite to a party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you kind of let things slide, and with him, it was like my fandom for him was letting him pass a lot of shit. Like, let a lot of shit pass. Like, usually I would call somebody like, bro, this is some bullshit. What are you talking about? But with Kanye, it's like, I'm feeding into it. Like, it's got to be something.
Kanye.
There's a method to his madness.
You Kanye shrugged to Kanye. Like,
yeah,
okay,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just Kanye. You know what I'm saying?
Kanye.
Like I said earlier, we gave him a lot of passes earlier because we felt like he was our champion. But then it was kind of like that, what is that Dark Knight line? It was like, you died a hero, you live long enough to become the villain. And it's like, as we keep going through this decade, we're seeing that become true. in a sense of what he used to be to what he is now. And I was wondering, because as far as the Christianity side of it is like, why was it weird for us to view him differently when it seems like he's trying to turn over a new leaf? But like for other Christian people, like to say your everyday man, a person, we always celebrate that. It's like, that's a good thing that you turned your life. Like, you know, when Malcolm X went to jail, or when Detroit Red went to jail, he came out Malcolm X. I know that was, you know, Islam, but as far as like most people find God in jail or whatever.
Right.
And it feels like we celebrate those, and those are like criminals. But with Kanye, it feels like, it felt somewhat disingenuous, because it's like, how can this person who's a superstar or whatever and all that make this type of transformation? Because we've never seen the correlation really be that strong before, until he's around someone like a Chance the Rapper or Kurt Franklin.
I can definitely say, and keep this in mind just for the record, and I'm about to come right back to answer your question. When I was younger, I remember I even said it to y'all. I don't know if y'all remember. I said this to a lot of people. I said, if Kanye went gospel, he will rule the game. And I also said, if Kanye and Kurt Franklin made a combined album, they would just take over gospel. And it's crazy how like now, like it's all of a sudden, like, you know what I'm saying, to the point where you mention the album, you know what I'm saying, and people like my mom was like, how do you feel about Kanye West? But when Jesus Walks dropped, when we liked Kanye West, she didn't even know who he was. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it shows you the reach that he's having and the effect that he's having. Now, back to your question. In regards to that, I would say that Kanye, you pretty much just said, do we feel like he was genuine?
Yeah, well, it just feels weird, right? Like, Swaff, like
do you?
Like you
I
said,
know exactly what you mean, and it does feel weird to me. I think it feels to us how it probably felt to Yo Mama when Jesus Walk came out. Like,
she didn't even know about it.
That if she would have heard it, she would have been like, okay, that's nice. And then she probably would have heard the rest of his catalog and been like, okay, well, obviously he doesn't walk this lifestyle all the time. Now I think it's flipped, where people who may not have been that tied to Kanye are hearing this new album of his, and I think they're more convinced, and they see it, and they're more. I think it actually evokes emotion out of them now, rather than seeing a whole project, rather than seeing just one song. But for us, at least for me personally, I just seen his whole track record. And it's just like, damn, I want to forgive. I'm kind of, the first question that started with, I want to forget all that shit, forgive him, and be like, all right, well, this is a road he's trying to go on now. I'm all for it. But part of me has to hold back, because it's like, I've seen him snap into so many different modes and then snap right back, or resort to something else, or just reinvent himself completely, that I don't see this as being permanent. I don't see this as being Kanye
because we mentioned it earlier when we were talking before we hit record. You were like, Kanye, or I think you probably even said on the podcast, like, Kanye's the person that always reinvents himself. Willie, you were saying he's surprised me the most. You know what I'm saying?
The thing about Kanye is he's just so fickle. He's in one mood and snaps. He goes another mood, snaps. He comes right here and snaps. It's like, dude, you have no backbone on anything. So for you to say that you're going to change your beliefs and your lifestyle, and I want to believe you, but you haven't gave me no leg to stand on. And to even go into that, it's like, listen, I'm not saying it to once again say, I can't say a man, it's not wrong that a man can't change. No, it's not. A man can change. You feel me? That is possible. And we can't say that it's not. But at the same time,
there has to be some consistency with it, right?
It has to be consistency. But it's like Kanye, when he goes out and does interviews, talking on tour about this album, talking about how God is affecting him in his life, and then you go and throw shade at Meek Mill, or, you know what I'm saying, you talk about Drake, and then, you know what I'm saying, now you're a Christianaire, millionaire, genius, whatever the fuck. Dude, like, no, this doesn't sound genuine. It sounds like you're a jackass, and it sounds like, once again, Kanye, you're making a fool of yourself. It's like you have no backbone to stand on.
It's kind of strange, because Kanye, he knows how much influence and how much power he has. I feel like, especially in our community, but he never takes it serious.
Yeah.
He never takes it serious. So he's absolutely right. As a person, as a human being, you can change your mind about whatever the fuck you want. You can feel some way today and be feeling completely different tomorrow, and that's okay. That's your prerogative. You have the right to change. You have a right to, come up with a different perspective and think about it more and dwell over it. And now I see it differently. That's fine. But there's limitations to that. The more reach you have, the more influence you have to realize that. You have to be like, okay,
It has to be boundaries.
I cannot. I'm now an example for some people, so I can't continue to experiment with myself in that way. I don't know. It puts him in a hard box because it's like, why do we put that much emphasis
Especially
on celebrities and shit like that?
In a judgmental time like this.
Exactly.
And also with that, we go. Well, Life of Pablo started 2016. That's when we get Donald Trump, right? So we're in a whole new era of America.
Yeah.
When it comes we just come from the quote unquote great black hope of Barack Obama, where we thinking it's progressive and shit. And then we get hit,
that MAGA hat shit.
and then we get hit in the head with Trump, and then everything that follows. You would think Kanye would be on the side that we all thought he originally was on, but like you said, Suave, and Willie, since he doesn't have a backbone, he really kind of goes with the times.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
He goes with what's hot, what's trending.
Yeah, and
not necessarily our trending, but his trending.
His trending. Whatever works for him.
Whatever works for him, and
or actually,
there's a ripple effect.
Whatever's the opposite of what actually is trending. Because during his first go out as an artist, he's the backpack guy going against the gangster. You know what I'm saying? Then you go into the 2010s, he's the black man going against the industry, trying to change some things. Make you rethink things. And then now, in this age, he is the guy going against Black Thought, or quote unquote Black Thought. You know what I mean?
And the other thing as far as for Kanye's background, I think what we forgot to mention is his regards into the fashion industry and how that impacted him and put him in a dark place as well.
But that's
he
the industry
was really
area.
fighting a lot of
yep.
and it was a lot of pushback, and he just felt like he was contained. That's another thing that was.
And him,
to his darkness.
he's always been told no his whole life for the most part.
Right.
That's a whole part of his story. You know what I'm saying? He's always the guy who's fought against the odds, and I think it got to the point where that's where he's that's where he's the most comfortable.
He feeds off that.
He loves that, and that's why the whole MAGA situation threw everybody off. You know what I'm saying? Because Kanye, how you gonna everything you said in your catalog before that, and even in interviews, you the one that called out George Bush, but you shaking hands and kissing babies with Trump.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. A lot of artists have honestly praised Trump.
But that was before.
And then they try to walk it back
Yeah.
after it became socially unacceptable.
Yeah, but
So what does that say about that?
you're saying that's only because it was socially unacceptable?
For the most part,
No,
yeah.
Donald Trump wasn't controlling the country and having ICE camps and throwing immigrants and kids in camps, bro. I'm trying to tell you, it
Donald
was a different.
Trump was
nobody
doing
gave a
worse.
damn. No, it was bankruptcy.
Now he's just the face of it. No, it wasn't just bankruptcy, and bankruptcy affects a lot of motherfuckers when you're talking about a university, people who pay tuition and shit. When you're talking about people who've invested in these companies, people who are working for these companies, all of a sudden the shit shut down. It affects a lot of people.
Bruh, Donald Trump, at the end of the day, people didn't care about that shit. They cared about how much money he had, how influential he was,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
how he maneuvered through schemes, especially through the government. The government
He didn't
screws us
change.
over.
Did Donald Trump change?
No.
He just exposed who he was.
Right, and it's honestly not who he.
And he
exposed
wasn't
who
with the
was.
government.
He was always this. He's worn this. That's how he got into the
And he wasn't-
Oval Office. It's because he wore his shit on his sleeve. Didn't deny shit. He did deny shit by lying, but
Of course he
it's
did.
not
He
like
lied.
He wasn't. He didn't have to go. He didn't have to hide shit and be sneaky about it. He just denied it. He just said, "No, it's not true. You saw me over there. No, you did."
And then the obvious thing is he wasn't the government back then.
Yeah.
Now not only is he still a jackass and has his power, but he's the government as well. That's the main thing, bro.
And with Kanye being aligned with them, it just threw us off for a loop, like I said. And then that's when people started jumping off, the Kanye train, the bandwagon, or being a fan of his and being very critical of him. And then that's when we see how that affects his music. Because like you said, going towards the later half of these past 5 years, it's like, this guy's in fashion. He has his mind all over the place. He's trying to manage artists, big artists too. Not like we're talking about Tiana Taylor, Pusha T, Big Sean, even John Legend, even to an affiliate extent, Common, 2 Chainz, who else? just whoever was the top rapper at the time, he was working with him and trying to assist him somehow, some way. He was just all over the place. And then when you get back to his music, like, you were like, okay, now this is your chance to tell us what you're thinking, your thoughts. Like, how are you here? Because I think when that Ye album dropped, that was probably the most anticipated album he probably ever released. Because everybody was like, how the fuck do you go from...
I don't know that. Well, yeah, that and
You know what I'm
Life of
saying?
Pablo. Life of Pablo.
The Life
was
of
probably
Pablo
number
was-
two
it was-
if it wasn't number.
It was, but because of the spectacle, right? Because me and you went to the movie theater. I regret that decision, by the way.
I don't. It was just. It made the whole thing.
That
epic.
Life of Pablo was highly anticipated.
No, it was, but
Highly.
it was because of the. I believe it was because of the spectacle of it. I think with Ye, it was because of more about like, bro, we need to know what's going on with you. Like, what the fuck are you thinking about?
Nah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
But he went off track. You could tell, like, he was supposed to come up with some. What did he call it? It was some game he was about to name.
Turbo,
Turbo
graphic
Six.
six.
Yeah, some bullshit. And then this shit happened, and then he finally does the Charlemagne interview, and then you was like, you know what? F this. I'm about to do a whole nother album in 2 weeks. Come on, Pusha T. We about to slide to Wyoming. Like, what? Like, come on, bro. Like, now don't get me wrong. It was 2 tracks on there that I fucks with a lot. It was only 2.
It's
But the
always-
rest of them, they boo-boo, bro.
It's
They
always,
trash.
but that was the first
Oh
time
my
you ever
God,
said
they
that about a
trash.
Kanye project, right? That
Yes,
most
I
of it
was-
is like you could skip most of it.
Yeah, I could say the same thing for this this gospel album too.
And-
I could
and-
skip most of it. There's probably 1 or 2 tracks that's decent.
Well,
at
hold on.
best.
I want to kind of touch on something that you brought up. You were talking about how much he started dabbling, right? And I'm sure y'all saw that interview with him and was it Big Mike?
Big
Big
boy,
Boy.
yeah.
And at one point, he kind of had a quote where he was like, "Same way that athletes perform this high level of sports and competitive and competition, right after every game they get iced up, going to the, whatever it is, the hydrophonic massage, whatever the shit they do. You know, LeBron spending millions on his body, shit like that, right? To take care of their body so it can perform in this high level sport." He related that to how he has to go through certain lengths to take care of his mental health to perform at such a high level in these industries that require a lot of attention, a lot of focus, a lot of moving pieces, etc. And so my question is, with that being said, I think he actually made a good point there, because we don't look, obviously in the black community, we don't really take much consideration into what their mental health is like. Can you get the job done or not? Doesn't matter what the toll's going to take. Do y'all cut Kanye any slack for that? The shit that's been happening.
Mental health?
Yeah, do y'all cut any slack? Because we just talked about how the top of the decade, he was producing his best shit, and he was doing it in a dark place. So that's going to take a toll on anybody. And then to keep anticipating and keeping them at that standard to be like, your next shit has to be just as hot or better. That's a lot of pressure. So are we surprised that he cracked under that pressure once or twice, did what he did here and there? Do we have any type of...
I'll answer that with, because I got a great follow-up question with that, but like I'll answer that by saying, do I give him some slack for it? Yes, but that's all it is. It's just slack. It's a little slack. I don't give him a pass because, and this is me being just, I guess this part. Well, because slack is more of like cut me some slack. You know what I'm saying? Let me try to empathize for me for a little bit. I can empathize.
A
with
boo-boo.
him. Yeah, like it's a little
Tap on the hand.
But I'm not letting you go. That doesn't mean I'm excusing everything you're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Just because you are bipolar or going through some things. Because for me, it's just like you're a multi-million-dollar artist, entrepreneur, all the titles you can give after that. You should be, and you're a grown man at that too, who's aware of himself. Kanye's always been aware of himself. You know what I'm saying? So before we even knew he was, you know what I'm saying? Like, before I even knew who I was, I knew who Kanye was, and that kind of influenced me to learn more about myself to a certain extent through his music. So, like, as far as inspiration.
Absolutely.
So, for me to say that, then, like, yes, I understand. Like, I don't know what it's like to lose a parent. You know what I'm saying? And I know eventually I probably will. I hope it's not for anytime soon, but I don't know what it's like to lose a parent, so I empathize with that. I don't know what it's like to be bipolar, so I empathize with that. But I do think he has the resources to take better care of himself, and he has the community, at least a good enough community from how his upbringing
and
was,
the resources
to take better care of himself.
I'm sorry.
to do better.
He does, but what he said, and he admitted, he said he did not.
But listen.
He did not to probably.
He didn't take care of himself.
That's his. That sounds like a personal problem.
It
bro.
is a personal
You're not
problem.
taking care of yourself when you know you have mental health issues, and when you're not assessing a problem that you're obvious about. That's an issue. I'm sorry. When you go on TMZ and say slavery is a choice, we're not giving you a pass. I'm sorry. When you wear a MAGA hat and say, fuck it, I'm going to make America great again, Kanye, we're not giving you a pass. I'm sorry. You look like an idiot. You literally, for somebody to be so self-aware, you're not aware about everybody else, your fans, the people who feed into your craft, who pay for your shows,
Does he
who
have
put
an
you on this
obligation to them?
platform. Yeah, hell yeah, he has a goddamn obligation.
He doesn't.
What?
And that's why.
Why?
He doesn't have
I
a.
think that's his main point these days. Is he has no obligation to any of his fans.
He does, bro.
Not a single
we
one of
give
them.
you, we pour into our artists. We believe into the people who
And-
paint a picture for us early and that we believe in and we are inspired by. This is a whole flipped, brand new Kanye West we ain't never known before. I feel like if he would have started like this and ended another way, he wouldn't even got as far as he got now.
I would say this. Remember, we was watching. This is a random time that I remember, but I remember what you said about it. We was watching Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire. Shit, I think, and it was around the time. It was during the part of the scene where there was some dude that was like, "Damn, Spider-Man ain't doing this no more. Then who are my kids gonna look up to?" And then you just sit in the background like, "Nigga, you the parent, no motherfucker."
Right.
So to go to Suave's point, it was like there is accountability on us as the people to not look into these celebrities as role models all the time. And that was my question to y'all, is that looking at Kanye from the beginning to now, was like, did that make you, it made me change my look on celebrities and how I view them as role models, if I should at all. It goes back to that Charles Barkley famous quote, like, I'm not a role model. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, we put so much into these people who are just humans at the end of the day. They just like us. It's just that we just know their name and know their wealth.
Nah. I think the thing that also paints up, because it's low key contradicting artists like, you can say a Meek Mill or a Kanye West. They can say that I'm not a role model for most kids, but then at the same time, you want to keep pumping out motivational and inspiring music, and that's what you do it for. How it's hard not to be a role model when you're doing that, and then that's how you're spinning your craft and your music. So it's all about perception and how, like,
Or is that
you know what I'm
marketing?
saying? It's marketing, but at the same time, it's their life.
But that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm
My
saying?
outlook now is different, because you say inspiration, I say marketing. Like when Meek shows his watches and all that shit, that don't inspire me. You know what at least
I'm
me
saying
personally.
Meek Mill is saying that's what he's doing.
He's
it
saying
for.
that's what he's doing
exactly.
it for. But
So I'm saying
but
you
it's
can't
all,
also say that and say that.
I don't think
I'm
everybody-
not trying to be a role model as well.
I don't think everybody would agree that Meek Mill's music is motivational music. I think that's very personal to you, because you like to work out to that nigga shit.
You do too.
I do too.
Exactly.
But
so you think it's motivational. So most people
It's
more
somewhat
than likely-
motivational. It's somewhat
exactly,
motivational.
bro.
It's
Keep
not-
it a buck.
I know what you
Don't
probably
play
mean,
yourself.
but I know it's not
Nah,
like he
I
ain't
mean-
saying shit to say shit.
It's motivational.
I mean,
It gets you hype.
Till his last 2 albums, he was just saying shit to say shit, and he even admitted it. That's
You
when
talking about Meek?
that's when he tried to change the picture and say, "All right, I'm about to stop talking about."
I
these
mean,
guns
but
and shit."
the music is
Yeah,
still
he
the same
proceeded
quality.
to do that.
The music is still the same quality. It's just the lyricism went up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little bit more
Right.
passion in the lyrics, how he said it, but it's the same Meek. You feel me? You
How
gonna
do
get the bank.
Suave, what do you think about the question as far as how do you look at celebrities now, as opposed to back then?
Well, I've just tried to put myself in their shoes, and I would hate for when we blow up and we in that position for anybody to feel like I owe them shit. Like whether it be the way I behave, whether be the way I make music, how much music, what type of music, who I work with.
Do you feel like you owe? Do you feel like?
So if you go on TMZ and say slavery isn't a choice, you don't
Not
feel
even
like people owe you shit?
No, not even that.
Let's just keep it a buck, bro.
If I go on there and say that shit, I should be prepared for the backlash, knowing human nature. But if I'm looking at it from a holistic standpoint, no, I shouldn't have to feel like that's wrong of me to say, or that's not right of me to say. If I feel compelled to say that, I have the right to say it. I'm gonna say it.
You have the right to say it, but it's not right to say.
Right, that's how I would feel.
So
that's how I would
you
feel.
still would
so
be
I
affected.
would refrain.
You exactly,
But
And you would apologize.
I can't impose that on somebody else, and that's my whole point. It's like you can never expect someone to react to something how you would.
I'm saying, how do you expect me to buy your albums and you say slavery is a choice, or support anything you do, or go to a Kanye Sunday service where you're going to pass a collection bucket, talk about slavery wasn't a choice, but you in Calabasas singing gospel.
That's
hymns,
but his
whatever the
speed
fuck it's
isn't
called.
that no more. His speed, to answer your question, how do you expect that? He doesn't. He doesn't expect you to follow it. He doesn't expect you to
Yes, he does,
buy
bro.
into it. No, he's saying if you want to choose to follow into it, you can. He knows that there's going to be a crowd. Regardless of how far he drops, there's going to be a crowd. Hell, Ja Rule could get a crowd right now. So Kanye's always going to be
I won't go that far.
Kanye's always going to be able to generate an audience, right?
Baby.
And so now he's basically saying, like, I don't do this for y'all no more. I used to do it for you. Maybe I started out doing it for my mama. Maybe then I got a little selfish, started doing it for me. But then maybe I got caught up in the celebrity of it, the celebrity factor of it, and the famous factor. I started doing it for the fans. He is now on the wave where he's doing it for God. And that's how he's coming at it.
You're doing it for God, but then you saying dumbass shit.
Yeah,
cussing
he's a
in your
hypocrite like a
interviews.
motherfucker.
Yeah, like that doesn't. It's
I'm
contradicting.
I'm going
bro.
back to this point as far as
You cussing for
It
God.
makes me that's what makes me so conflicted about
Instagram
Kanye.
took your bid for God.
Instagram took your bid.
Instagram took your
Instagram
bid, but bid for God. Come on, get the fuck
I'll
out
say
of
this,
here.
Swaff, you said something as far as I don't want to feel like I owe anybody nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about a lot of times like when the success will come for us and what we will do with that success, right? And how we would want to impact not only our families but others as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like because of the religion that we all grew up in, the core essence is somewhat not only just about forgiveness but also about generosity. And, you know, say do unto your neighbors as you want to do unto yourself. We wouldn't be in these positions with just by going off of that mentality of only taking care of or only worrying about and only being concerned about our well-being, but about others as well. We grew up in a village, you know what I'm saying? We had a lot of people look out for us. So for me, it's just like I do have an obligation, especially for how I grew up, to take care of others or to even be considerate of others. And I think what y'all were just talking about as far as with Kanye, somehow that switch is on, but it's flipped at the same time.
Tell me this, Nick. If you have an obligation, that's not generosity. You have to do that. Something in you is telling you have to do that. That's not you choosing to do it. That's you.
It is you.
That's a way you're trying to frame it. I understand the way you're trying to frame it.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's the whole vibe I got from Kanye. He's saying, like, I'm not trying to feel like I owe y'all this. I'd rather pull that from a place of more honesty. Like, I feel compelled to do these Sunday services, not because it's a hot time and I know I could blow up with it, but because I want to do this.
But to Willie's point, though, if you as an artist, right, you ain't shit without the people, right? So you have to get people to invest into you for you to get to the platform or to level of success you want to be at. Because no artist.
That's when you lose.
No, but I'm just saying. No, but no artist does anything.
Artists
just
who do
for,
that
just
lose.
Cause. No artist does anything for just cause. As much as
Yes,
people,
they do.
no, as much as people say that, it's bullshit. Because we don't do this podcast. Y'all don't make music just for y'all. Y'all want the people to hear it. Y'all want it to be as big as possible. You know what I'm saying? That's why you do it. You feel like you have something to say, and you want a lot of people to hear it.
No, it's not. I make shit because I think it's hot.
So then why do you release it to the public?
Because I want to share what I think is hot.
I don't.
I'm not.
Why do you want?
I
people,
didn't make that in the
want,
scope of saying like, oh, this is gonna sound good to them type shit. Like, I have done that before, but now I've been in a different space for a while where it's like I make shit that I think is flowing.
But you want other people to gravitate towards that.
I would like that. I would like that, but that's not my fuel at all.
It's kind of different because you're using your own perception about your idealism as far as for what's hot or what's not, and you want to share it with the world. That's fine.
Right.
Kanye's saying he's doing this not for himself. He's doing this for God. Now, God is shared among not only him, but amongst people as well. So there's the common ground that's there. Now, when you're not, it's one thing to not do godly things, or it's always a gray area. Everybody's gray. People super religious, people are damn near non-religious as all. But as far as for some basic things there and some basic principles, it's just a certain way you have to act and you have to portray when you talk about God and when you share things with God. I ain't saying you got to be super religious, but I am saying you have to have some respect factors and you have to keep it pretty much short and simple. Not your translation, but what God's word is. Not your word, God's word.
And you don't feel like that's what Kanye's doing.
Kanye's using Kanye's word. And
that's
you
what's
cannot
dangerous.
and you cannot use God to market Kanye's word. No, and then you turn around and say you're doing it for God. It don't work like that. And that's where the problem is at. Is because people are believing, people have died. Blood, sweat, and tears. Money has been spent. Religions over years, centuries. You know this. Religion has always been one of the main pillars, as far as for why people are divided and how some people are conquered and whatever the case may be. So it's like for you to play and tamper with something like that and to be so insensitive, and not only that, use your platform to not only misguide, but then you still be a jackass. It's like, dude, I'm starting to not like you at all no more.
Do you think his fan? Do you think
you know what I'm saying?
Have you looked at his fan base lately, as far as the people who really
probably more white people?
Exactly. That's what I was about to go to, and not to say this is anything against white people, but it's just
damn near.
Like, when he first started, it was very like his first album, College Dropout. He has like HBCU skits in it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And now you go to albums now, he's doing.
Late registration. He was talking about some Africa shit. Diamonds off forever. He was doing pro-black.
He's doing gospel songs with Kenny G. It's like that's a completely different tone
Kenny G
and audience than how he first started out. And it makes me think. Joe Rogan had this theory. I think he said it on one of his podcasts. He was like, I think Kanye's trying to develop a cult.
He is.
And
And they're going to kill themselves in Calabasas?
I don't disagree with that at all. Matter of fact, I think he's doing it, but unintentionally. Like, I think he believes what he's saying.
So he's a natural cult leader?
I think he believes what he's saying.
You have to, because that's where it starts at, right?
I think that's where...
Not always. It can be deceptive.
That's where that spiritual weakness I was saying earlier comes in. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't... If he does, I feel like it's not intentional. But I feel like spiritually he's being manipulated. And I feel like it's for the wrong reasons. If people disagree, they disagree. They say I'm conspiracy, it's conspiracy, but it's just all about, especially the spiritual word. I could feel vibes. You could just feel it, like this. It just something ain't right. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And yes, but that you couldn't have said it any better.
Something just ain't right, and I'm not buying it. It's too easy.
I want to say a few things he said. I agree with him, but it's just like I'm still not like if I had an opportunity to go to Kanye's Sunday service. I don't know if I would, and I would have to. I don't know yet, and for the simple fact that I don't know yet, lets me know that I have a confliction about this.
Exactly,
shit. There's something wrong with it, even at least in my eyes.
And that's why. And this is a stupid analogy that I'm gonna say. This is the ignorant side of no disrespect. We always ignorant. It's like
lop us in your mess. Say right.
It's like if a bum came up to you out off the street and was like, "Bruh, I got $1 million." Around the corner, come with me and I'll give you half. You know what I'm saying? Out of nowhere, say that to you, and you be like, bro, this just a bum talking some drug. He's probably drugged out or whatever the fuck, crazy, insane. And he's like, nah, look, he pulls out like $100 bill, blue face. You know what I'm saying? Blue face. I got, here's $100. Give you $100. Like, bro, I got more around the corner. It's kind of like, I hear what you're saying. There's some truth to it because I see you have some money, but you're a bum. And if you had $1 million, why the fuck are you trying to give me half? Yeah, it's like if you may have something around the corner that I do want and I am interested in, but the presentation of it, just the whole
conviction.
Yeah, it's just I don't trust
something's
it.
not right about
something's
the messenger.
Not right. Exactly,
it's just not right.
Something's not right about the messenger. That's what it is.
And like I said, I just feel spiritually, it's just something going on with him, and it's more than music. It's more than Kanye West as a celebrity or him as a person. It's deep. It's between him and God, bro.
And this is a long
flat out.
This is a long intro to us reviewing Jesus is King. We waited a while because I just wanted the hype to bear down, to be honest, and also everything that followed from the releases. It's just been interesting to say the least. But what did y'all think about the Kanye album? Jesus is King.
Shit ball. Second worst album he's ever released.
What's the first worst album?
808 and Heartbreak.
All right, bro.
I'm sorry, that Yeezus had back. If you go through the Yeezus again,
808's got bangers too, nigga.
Slide right on it, moves his right on up.
Amazing.
808.
Amazing.
Amazing wasn't amazing.
I would say Ye was his worst.
Ye is his worst album.
Ye, okay. Okay.
I won't say Jesus.
So
being
it's his third worst then.
second worst.
Second word. 808s, bro, was revolutionary. But
Fuck 808.
so are you admitting that you were wrong about your statement that you were saying for years? Like,
If Kanye made a gospel album,
I'm wrong.
he would take over the.
I'm wrong. And the crazy thing is,
He
when
gonna say he half right because he got Kurt Franklin on
Right.
Life of Pablo.
nah, touche though. Kurt's the best. He's crazy with
the one song
arrangement.
he doesn't keep on his playlist.
Ironically
He don't know what
enough,
the fuck he want. He,
Nah.
he like Kanye.
no,
It's like, I really
If it-
fuck with
no,
that.
listen, I'll tell you.
Delete.
I'll tell you the reason why. And Kurt's just a masterful arranger. Side note, he's just beautiful with the choir. Anyway, and a masterful director. Anyway, I feel like back in the day, I felt like Kanye was more. If he ever made a gospel album, he would be more genuine. You know what I'm saying? I never seen this pathway to ever come. Like all this shit that happened. This was the last thing. Him to support Donald Trump in a time like I wouldn't him to say slavery was a like you don't expect
You couldn't
black people
write
to
this.
say
You couldn't write
can't
this
make
shit.
this shit up. I never expected that, so I just felt like now it's not genuine, and because of that, I don't like it.
I think it's
So you would you were Kurt Franklin? I know it's a
What about
banger.
what about the
but I don't like
what
it.
about the quality of
You feel me?
the album?
Quality of the album, it was decent. Detroit, as far as for kind of giving you a quick thing through it, it was short. A lot of the songs were short. I didn't like that. He kind of rapped in some of the songs. You really didn't hear a lot of rapping for real. He really ain't say shit for real. I think the Follow God was the hottest joint on there. I did like how they kind of manipulated and played with Fred Hammond's voice on the last track. But other than that, and the Ty Dolla songs, it was like the main three standouts. Everything else, it was garbage. Of course, the choir is going to do its thing. I'm not saying that it wasn't pieced together well, but it's just as an overall message for a gospel album, it was trash. For it as a Kanye album, it was trash. And for him spitting rapping on it and actually trying to, I guess, preach your so-called word, it was trash.
What about you, Suave?
1 out of 10, 10 being the best.
It was trash.
It was trash.
You know me so well, bro. You know me so well.
I was thoroughly unimpressed with this album.
Thoroughly.
Meaning,
How far of a drop off was from how unimpressed you were with Ye to this?
It was like getting up and getting knocked back down again.
You talking about being drunk?
It was like that second wave of throwing up when you're hungover. That was worse than the first because you drank some water.
Damn.
So now
You thought you was getting better.
you thought you was getting better, and it came right back.
Real friends.
How many of them?
How many?
How many?
But no,
He looked at the tithe and collection bucket. How many?
honestly, there was only maybe 2 or 3 tracks that I liked, and that's why, again, it's kind of like, 1, why would I go to the Sunday service? 2, why did he do this? Like, is this really just what makes Kanye happy?
Yeah.
Or was this a plot, like y'all were saying?
Yeah.
Because I hear what he's saying, but do I believe it? Obviously, hell no. I feel too convicted inside.
And have you noticed his hottest songs are remakes of the secular songs? Like the whole album is ass. But then when you hear a Kanye Sunday service and they do the remix, I'm like, that's hot.
That's fire. But it's a secular shit.
And it gave you hope to your point as far as what your prediction is like. If he could do that with these songs, what can he do on his own?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I was sadly mistaken.
And for me, it was like the album was, it was, my usual. It was
Trash.
Booty. It was cheeks. It was buttocks, hiney, rump shaker, duty maker, all that ass. And that's as a rap album and a gospel album. Like this is not the worst rap album I've ever heard, but this is the worst gospel album I've ever heard.
By far, Snoop.
Because I feel
made
like
a banger.
I feel like we
gospel
always
album.
we judge gospel differently than hip hop. And I was going to ask y'all, how do y'all judge this album? Because I judge this as what it is, as what he tried to present it to me, as a gospel album, not hip hop.
I try to look at it just from an overall music. How I look at most music, from an overall musical masterpiece, like from start to finish, like. Rap, you could take all the genres out of it. Is it good?
Well,
it's just not.
I
Well,
say
I
I
don't
look-
think we should separate
Well,
hip hop and
I was
gospel.
explaining. I'm not saying separated, but as far as the judgment of it, because if you when you say, oh, I'm about to present you a gospel album, as opposed to like, oh, I'm gonna present you a rap album, you got two different mindsets, I would think. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going into things thinking or listening for certain things than the other. Like, for like you were saying, well, I think with gospel music, it's more about, it's a feeling. It's a spiritual. It's literally, I need a spiritual feeling.
That's your inclination.
Okay, that's
generalized. Generalized.
That's how I think.
It's a lot of praise and worship.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
You don't need the lyrics. Don't need to be that complicated. It's just the feeling of
exactly. It's a lot of emotion through the beat, the music, a lot of originality through that. It just felt like it was forced.
Because like on one track he's saying Jesus like a bunch of times, like Jesus. It was like when you think of Kanye and you think of Christianity, like, okay, that makes sense. He talked about Jesus before, so it's not like he's far fetched from that technically. But the way he attacked this album, it was like there was no creativity at all. It was just more of like, nigga, I'm just gonna just say I'm not gonna cuss.
Church on Sundays
and
closed on Sundays. You know, closed on Sundays. No Chick-fil-A.
It was
number
like,
1 with the lemonade. Come on, bro. Really?
I like that.
Really? And it's crazy because the dumbest shit is the more like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but it's because, again, it's just like, because it's Kanye, we know where he came from as far as musically. Like, we think there's more to it, but it really ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, we've heard him say some funny shit before, but it was like there's always something that followed it. You know what I mean? Like,
this was heat that followed
yeah.
it. This was just kind of like a joke with no punchline.
Exactly.
And the crazy thing is, I feel like the high points in the album, like the choir, the arrangement.
It was the features. The features were the high points. Like Ty Dolla $ign killed this shit.
The features.
Ty Dolla $ign.
Everything. The high points about the album, Kanye didn't do.
Exactly. And that's the complete opposite of what we praised him before.
He didn't do anything.
We used to think that Kanye could do no wrong, right? As musically, as we're talking about, as far as like, if you got Kanye producing a track or got a Kanye feature, it's going to be a banger.
I think this was rap suicide. I feel like Kanye doing this massive change, and not only him being so fickle, I just feel like if he would have continued to do what he was doing, changed his life, retired from music a little bit, came back as a gospel artist, and actually have a backbone. Now I can kind of buy that, depending on how, you know what I'm saying, I will be interested. But the way this it was too much. Too much happened.
You know what I'm curious about? When were these songs really created?
I think it's
like it's one thing to be recorded.
I think it's like 2 weeks.
But I'm saying, when were they created by Kanye?
I think it was like 2 weeks.
He had like a month, no more than that. At least thinking ideas, picking beats or making
So you're
beats.
assuming after Ye?
I'm assuming like,
oh hell yeah,
way after Ye.
Hell yeah.
I'm assuming like last month or two. Like, that's about
very recent. Very
because recent. like Willie was saying, like, bro, he switched so many album titles and themes as far as what he was about to do. Like, he's supposed to come out with Yandi.
Yeah,
whatever the hell that's supposed to be.
I mean,
and then now you're not ever making a secular album.
Exactly.
Ever
That's
again.
it can't be that calculated. Is what I feel like.
It doesn't have to be calculated. But if he's made, do you think Ultralight Beam was the only song like that he made at that time?
I think he had a batch
Who's
of songs.
to say he couldn't have made one of these songs in that time
with
period?
Pablo,
obviously he had a little essence.
It's crazy because the Ultralight Beam, if you put that on that Kanye album, not only will it be the hottest song still on that album,
it would fit better.
I don't think it would. Well, yes, technically, but that makes it not fit because none of the other shit fits with that song.
And that's why I was.
So it wouldn't
that's
fit.
what I was saying. Like, Life of Pablo sounded
Like,
like he had a bunch of tracks already done, and then he had a conversation or conversations with Chance and Kurt Franklin, and it was like, I need to add something else to this because I need to add some more of that. Of what we like, because you know he's impulsive sometimes, so it's like, let me just throw these on there. That's why Life of Pablo sounds like
it
sounds like a mixtape.
So many different times.
It sounds like a mixtape.
Yeah.
It's like it's a mixtape because it's like there's really no sequence in as far as like how this one song fits the other. As far as like when you go to Late Registration or College Dropout,
plenty of skits,
it's like everything was like it followed through
cohesively.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that ain't. Yeah, it was trash, bro.
So my next question is to y'all is like, do you think Kanye is a good representation for Christianity?
Hell no. Fuck.
Or delivering the message of Christianity?
Let me tell you something. I got sins and I backslid too, my nigga. But fuck Kanye. I will be fucking Barack Obama compared to that nigga. You good?
My answer is yes. I say that because he's gonna be a martyr. he represents a punching bag that all Christians want to swing at. For some reason, I mean, we already know what most people say about Christianity. We're judgmental, we kind of alienate ourselves. If you don't, we be specific to certain doctrines. We have even beefs within even that own practice, Christianity, with how many different breakoffs there are, and like I said, doctrines. But I think Kanye, he kind of represents what I feel like somebody who is truly spiritual and unfazed by outside and the white noise. He's that modern day version of it, and it's just too much for us to take. And so it's food for us, food for Christians. It's like, let me tell you everything you're doing wrong with my religion. Let me tell you everything that you've been doing wrong and how you represent us.
You're saying Kanye is the example of wrong? He's the example of what Christ is not like.
Right now he's the example of somebody that we would want to be, so shameless about what we believe in and about how we move and how we feel about things. But because there's rules and there's so much structure to Christianity, we can't be that. And so he's that he's sacrificial right now in his career. He's a sacrificial
he's just too
example.
He's too fickle. Like I said, he blows where the wind moves him.
Isn't that our emotions though? Isn't that how our feelings?
No.
It is. Our feelings are fickle.
No, not when coming to religion. It's some backbone. There is structure. You know what I'm saying?
Really.
That's the premise. It is.
I feel like faith is the only backbone of religion. Because
and I can't even honestly tell you that Kanye even has not only faith in himself, but faith in God. To be honest with you, I'm sorry, not by the way how he sounds. He contradicts everything that he says, bro. And I don't believe that somebody that can be persuaded and moved so easily is just, a martyr for Christians, just to point out. He's just another piece of crap that's just, feeding into what the Christians want to feed in. He's not helping himself. He ain't helping the Christian community. He's just doing what Kanye wants to do because it puts a chip on his shoulder. So, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he drops another album and it be fire because of this chip on his shoulder. But I may not be a fan by then.
We're all God-fearing Christians. If we had the spotlight that Kanye had, I fear that we could potentially be that same example that he's being right now.
I've thought about that.
They would highlight our flaws,
yes,
because we are hypocritical.
No,
and
black.
He put these flaws on himself.
He did, but we do too.
No, we don't.
Like when we ask shit like, "Where the bitches at?" Oh, we scroll on Instagram. Damn, she got a fat ass, and we immediately lust.
Is Jay-Z not a Christian? Has Jay-Z pretty much?
I have no idea if Jay-Z's a Christian.
I don't even. He might be.
Wow, I don't even know. Right, I don't even think that was the perfect example. All right, somebody like John Legend. Okay, he's pretty big. Can we all agree? He's John Legend.
Heaven only knows, but yeah.
I was gonna say,
John Legend still moves in a certain way. He likes certain things. He sins.
Does he?
But
he's the sexiest man alive right now, bro.
Exactly. It was terrible. But all I'm saying is, has he put himself on a platform to screw himself over?
No, he
knowingly.
has not.
Like Kanye West. No, he has not. And there's more cases like that. I can't come off the dome because
that's a part of John Legend's allure, though. He's
same
safe.
thing with Kanye West when Jesus walks.
But
come on.
But John Legend is a safe artist. You know what I'm saying? Like Kanye is the artist that you don't know what the fuck you gonna get from, and that's why everybody really is interested in him. Like there's only niche people that I feel like are really interested in John Legend, and they're the same people that would like John Legend's the type of concert that you'll bring your grandmama and your niece to. It's like he can fit all age ranges because he's that safe. But Kanye is like, nah, nigga, it's only me and my homies.
He wears his heart on his sleeve, even if at times he ends up interpreting what his heart is telling him wrong. And that can happen. But he wears that on his sleeve, which a lot of us...
You don't think Christianity itself brings structure?
No, it's not. I mean, no. Yeah, exactly. There is structure.
You were saying that, but there was nothing.
There's nothing. You said he was bringing up a backbone. You have to have a backbone and like a hard line. And the only hard line I feel like we do have is faith. When it comes to this other stuff,
there's more.
Depending
more
on situation,
than faith,
depending on time, like we'll bend it. Like even when it comes to death, like there's certain situations that we could come up with our mind would be like, you know what, I would justify it in my mind. I would do that shit.
No,
but
But then
everything
that goes again. But I hear what you're saying. But
that goes against faith. That's not having faith.
You also contradict yourself because there are like literal things where like, at least if you're going by the text of God, it's just more of like these are the things that, bro. If you don't do nothing else, do these 10 things.
The Bible, no. The Bible is a guideline through life, bro.
I'm talking about faith in Christ, not necessarily faith in.
But faith in Christ,
but you believe in the literature behind it, in the actual practice.
But you have to believe in that literature.
No. The faith.
What do you mean you don't,
bro?
You can. I'm saying like you can. That's what I'm talking about with the doctrines. Many different doctrines of it, because there's certain doctrines that are way more strict than others, and then there's others that are a lot more lenient, and it lets you read in between the lines. Because at the end of the day, we're looking at interpretations. We're looking at shit that's been transcribed over years and years and years.
There's a lot of, but that's just getting to semantics and people, the word being passed down and manipulated in everybody else's word. I'm talking about just the core foundation, just like how to treat people, having hope, having faith, going to church, praying to God, asking for forgiveness, trying your best not to sin, like just small shit like that, like. The difference between us and Kanye is self-inflicting. Not only is it self-inflicting, he does it on a huge platform, and it makes the situation worse. He wants to do. I feel like that's the thing. Like, you are amplifying your fuck-ups. When we fuck up, we fuck up on our level. Even your core level may find out, but cool, we did it. You lose and learn, and you move on. Here, you amplify it not only in a judgmental world, but not only that, you do it on your own. It's self-inflicting.
All those things, though, it's like
it's self-inflicting.
He demonstrates all of those things you just down that list of things you said. He demonstrates all of those. He's asked for forgiveness. Like he publicly praises God, he spreads God's word. What else were you saying? Like asking forgiveness.
Self-inflicting? You feel me?
I mean, what was the list that you just said? Like the things that you feel like are, whether if you don't necessarily believe in this specific doctrine or that.
How to treat people?
How to treat people. You don't feel like he demonstrates how to treat people?
No.
How not?
Not at all. Do you?
As far as
he's holding a Sunday service.
I don't. But he's selling things at that Sunday service.
Exactly, and that's the other thing.
That's why
you're passing around tithing.
Does that have to do with how you treat people?
Because I don't, at this point in time, I don't know what's commercial and what's real.
What's genuine, what's not.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
now you're playing with people's faith.
Everything he's been doing for the last few years, he's had a price tag attached to it, right? Everything that he says, to go back to that point as far as when he was first starting about that, this is when the first thing when people start calling him crazy or he's going off the rails is that fashion shit like Willie was talking about. Like, it's like, first of all, how can I empathize with somebody who's making millions trying to make more millions? And but he's at the same time he's talking about how black people don't have spaces in these areas, and that's true. We just see his friend Virgil become the first black person over whatever the fuck, Louis Vuitton or whatever. And it's like, so he's saying some truth, but at the same time, it's for monetary gains. It's like, are you doing it for you? Are you doing it really for us or for yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's not something like, if we're talking about faith, like give you an example, like Jesus.
No, that was an
let's
example.
Let's talk
of
about
people.
the Last Supper. Jesus knew what Judas was about to do. You feel what I'm saying? But that's faith. That's in the works. That's in the plans. I'm gonna give them this. Everybody.
No,
a benefit.
I don't think that's a good analogy.
That wasn't.
Well, let me tie it in. Let me tie it in.
Okay.
So whether we believe Kanye or not, we should have faith that if we were gonna know how to treat other people, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt as a God-fearing person.
But how many times have you done that already?
Exactly.
How many times have you done that with Kanye already? I'm just asking you.
How many times has Kanye apologized for his fuck-ups over and over again?
I mean, he's done it plenty,
We can
but not
forgive.
in the mindset that I see him in now.
As of late, how many times has he disappointed you?
Plenty.
But and then it gets to that.
But if I were to start cutting him short, then my faith is wavering.
No, it's not.
No, it's
It
not.
is.
You forgive,
Because
but you
now-
forget. You know what I'm saying? You got to move on.
If I have a limit to how much I forgive, then my faith is now being
It's
tested
not a
in
limit.
that.
It's not a limit, but don't continue to influence and provoke this beast that is it's like the boy that cried wolf. You're gonna keep chasing the bull and gonna have to wait until he cry for it.
This is my last question for y'all, but it goes back to the beginning of how we started. As far as you just mentioned again, as far as tying it in, the forgiveness aspect. Like, can Kanye be redeemed or within the black community from where he started at? Can he be redeemed with the people, the core people that promoted him and supported him and
Not
that believed in
musically.
him?
Not musically.
Because like for me, musically, he's lost me.
He's
like,
done. He's
Jesus
gone.
is King was the last. That was the last that I had. Like I know a lot of people left a lot earlier than that, but for me, it was the people left in the MAGA part. I
Yeah.
left at Jesus is King because it was like, if we can't connect spiritually, like originally how
That's
we did,
it.
that was all I had left. Because I don't know this man. I don't know.
You're
I
not
haven't-
black.
I have no ties
You
to
can't
Kanye
rap.
outside of his music. So if I can't connect with you musically on an inspirational level like I did earlier on,
Or spiritually.
then there's nothing for me here, because everything else you're talking about I either don't care about or can't relate to. So when I talk about forgiveness, yes, I said it's I started I would say it's not guaranteed. It's necessary, but it's not guaranteed. I think where I'm at in my life and the growth that I've had, Kanye was a part of that, but now it's kind of like how they always be saying the student becomes a teacher or whatever the fuck. It's like now I know better. So I'm trying to do better. And
Yeah,
I feel
I know
like
right
Kanye
from
don't.
wrong.
I feel like for all the lessons or all the apologies that he's gone through, he hasn't done better since then.
It's just that's exactly why Kanye is such a confliction for me, because it's like his situation damn near tests my faith, because I have learned that I've learned that my following, my spirituality comes from just trying to show love. Like I'm trying to show love, and a big majority of that is trying to see the light in people on some superhero shit. Like you got to just see the good in people. You know what I'm saying? Like those people who had ill intent, those people who when it came to when Jesus was on earth, those people had ill intent all around him, but he tried to see the good in them. He tried to see what was positive in them. I'm trying to do that too with Kanye, but it's like everybody does have a limit. But if I'm the God-fearing person that I say I am, I shouldn't have a limit, and so it tests me. So that's why I think I am going to give him a shot on his next album. I'm going to listen to it, because I don't want to just cast him off when he is trying to be a mascot for Christ. When he's trying to be that, I'm at least going to give him a shot.
But at this point, I'm
day in and day out.
not willing to be that. I'm not willing to go the daily route with him. Is on that journey
Or spend my money.
I have to just see. Like I gotta let you go off and find yourself, and then when you come back, we can have a conversation. But in the meantime, I'm not gonna follow you no more. You know,
it's not about money though. Like it's not about the money.
I mean, it is, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? It's about Kanye needing to have that deeper relationship with God and figuring out who Kanye and what Kanye needs to do. At the end of the day, bro, I just feel like where Kanye has been lost. I get what you mean, like trying to forgive, but I also feel like it's a gray area as well. Like I can forgive you for doing what you said. Like I said, musically, I don't feel like he will be back with the black community. I feel like we can accept him spiritually if we feel like if we can really sense he's genuine and really trying to change. I feel like, yes, we can accept him. Brother in arms, you're a black person. Yeah, you may have your faults. Don't we all? But we can accept you. Musically, I don't have to listen to shit else you drop or pay for anything else that you do. I don't have to support you for anything else. But are you my brother? If you need help, if you need guidance, we're here for you if we can help you on your journey. I feel like it's a gray area. So Kanye, and this goes to anybody else, like you said, your confliction. People need to be more, and that's good. People need to be more spiritually woke. You need to know you're just moving in the haze. Time is just going by. You just moving with the chains. And so the spiritual beings, you could just feel the vibes and the energy around you. Some people can't, you know what I'm saying? And so for somebody to be so as easily likable and lovable as Kanye, but be off the wall, and now how you switch and move and persuade, and people just so easily move with him. No, that shows how your mindset and how you look at yourself and how fickle you are. Yeah. And how you have no backbone. You have to be smart enough and spiritually woke enough to make your own decisions and back that up.
And it kind of goes into the question of when Kanye was like fucking up on a more personal note, wasn't bringing God into this. It was just like, I'm fucking up as a human being and just like who I want to be as a Kanye. It was easier for me to have an opinion on him. Not even forgive him, have an opinion on him. Like, be very critical of him. Now, he's bringing God into it, and it just, when you talk about, like, someone's spirituality or someone's relationship with God, it's hard for me to have such a critical opinion of him because it's just like we're getting dangerously close to passing judgment.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to stay away from.
Yeah. That's why I keep saying, like, it's not foreign for a man to change. You know what I'm saying? A man can change, but it's the actions and the consistency that you also bring that have to back up that change. You know what I'm saying? And I really stand to that, you know? And I feel like, bruh, people need to be more spiritually woke. I feel like that is powerful. You know what I'm saying? Like, for somebody to be as powerful as Kanye West to be provoked, I feel like even Donald Trump, we just need to be very careful and very coherent about that. You know what I'm saying? And if y'all feel that spiritual change as well as I do, I feel like y'all can agree.
I think is for me, when it comes to Kanye or even anybody in general, I expect more out of the people that have more. You know what I'm saying? Like, or who can do better. Again, I'm saying a cliche line, but if you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
And Kanye has the resources to know a lot, to educate himself. This nigga literally got on stage and said, "I don't read shit," or like, "I don't pay
Talking
attention."
about
it's just like this
politics,
nigga.
you don't
this
even know
nigga
politics.
literally lives in ignorance at this point, and it's like at this point, I don't want to be associated with it or even promote it no more. Like, I know ironically, I'm doing a podcast episode about Kanye, but nonetheless, it's just like, I'm
we
done.
can give him that.
I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm finished.
Odd question, but it relates. Let's say y'all had a girlfriend, right? And this bitch got possessed. What are you doing after that?
You said just a girlfriend?
Yes, and this plays into forgiveness. This plays into what we believe in and how we see people bouncing back and how many chances we're going to give somebody.
I'll bring the preacher in.
What are you talking about? Like,
if you had a girlfriend and she was possessed, what are you doing?
I'll bring the
what is the situation? You got to set me up.
He's trying to, the more details probably get more muddled.
I mean, yeah, well, I'm just saying you come home and your girl's possessed.
I'm bringing the preacher over. We're going to do the exorcism. If that don't work, we kill the bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
First of all,
that's a demon in the house, bro. What do you mean?
First of all, if I come home and the bitch is possessed, let me tell you something. I'll do a Lord's Prayer, and I'm gonna knock that bitch out. Okay? The Lord's Prayer was for me to not go to jail, because I'm about that motherfucker. I'm gonna forgive you on the way on out.
I was thinking about leaving. I was thinking about leaving, but at the same time, if she's possessed,
she's an assassin.
She's gonna haunt
I think we can all agree.
She's an assassin.
I hear you talking about the preacher. You ain't getting no damn preacher.
You got time for no preacher. You out of there.
I can get a preacher, bro.
You know who needs a preacher? Carmelo Anthony.
So what? You gonna tie her hands up like the Exorcist? Was she freaking out and shit?
Well, first of all, Willie, fuck you. All right, Melo's back. Shout out to the Portland Trailblazers for being smart.
And they lost today.
And second, what was you saying?
I hope that
my thing is with
her possessed body better got that
I'm
neck.
bringing a preacher over because, for one, I don't want to be haunted. I don't want to leave the situation and she follows me type shit. I want to, at the same time, I also have invested into this person, so I know that this isn't who they are. So I'm gonna try to help them out, but there's a limit to my help. There's a limit to my forgiveness. There's not a limit to my forgiveness, but there's a limit to my naiveness, or whatever the fuck that word is. Like, I'm not gonna be ignorant or go think something's going to. The definition of insanity is like to keep doing the same thing, thinking something's gonna change. Like, I'm not gonna just hang around with this bitch.
You can't quote shit like.
Look,
no, I'm just saying. Listen.
You can't mix Einstein with
and
biblical terms.
Right.
No, I'm saying, like, as far as being with the bitch. Like, if she's possessed, I'm not gonna pretend like ain't nothing changed. Like, I'm gonna do something about it.
Look, bro. I'm gonna tell you this. Let me give you a real answer, okay? If I come home, it really depends on the mood I'm in. Shit, if I come home feeling
on some freaky shit.
Hey, real talk. If I come home in a horny ass mood, I'm gonna listen. You better come over here. Let me see what that demonized dick sucking you can do.
You gonna
hit that neck can do, boy. You better suck neck like.
Hold on, bro.
You gonna be smacking
Break
from
your
the back.
neck.
Her head go turn all the way around like.
I like that.
He's still gonna keep going. He gonna be freaked out, but he gonna keep going till he busts.
He gonna grab her neck.
But if she on some other shit, try to bite my dick off, like I said, I'm gonna kill the bitch and go. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go. She gonna come back.
What if
alive.
Kanye's our possessed bitch? And we can't just walk out. We gotta get the reverence.
I ain't doing some things that Kanye I was gonna do this bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your analogy was freaky as hell, nigga.
Yeah, I'm saying
Shit.
the bitch got. Hey, she
damn.
give you neck and then turn all the way around. What?
Hell nah, bro. That's.
If you smack her from the back and her whole head turns around like an owl,
And then you grab her neck and say, "Spit on my face."
you grab her neck, open her mouth, and spit in her mouth.
and then somehow she spits it back out you. All
Then
right.
she throws up like the Exorcist.
All right, how we go from God to the devil?
Nah, but on a serious note, I'll be like, "Lord, forgive me. I'm just joking. I'm up out of here."
Or whatever.
The guy gonna be like, no, I chose you for this job.
Lord, let's talk about this. I'll come back. You want to tell me what the hell was going on out there?
He'll be like, hell. Did somebody say hell?
I'm gonna come to you like, you want to walk with them or you want to walk with God?
I want to go with
I want to
God.
walk with them.
I'm going to God. That girl.
I wanna-
She a freak.
All right, bro. We got off the rails, bro. Last thoughts about this, about Kanye, about spirituality, everything, forgiveness.
We got to get the Reverend in the house. Kanye, that possessed bitch, and we got to get the Reverend in the house. We cannot give up on this man. He has so much to offer. He could be like that ideal gospel Christian figure that he's acting like he is. He can be that.
He said he could be what he pretended to be.
Yeah, he could be what he's pretending to be.
Wow.
I believe that. I'm trying to give him the benefit of that. I'm really, really trying.
You trying too hard. You ever heard that?
No.
Akon.
That's not biblical.
I just hope
That's the book of Nick, chapter 3.
that's the book of Akon. I try so hard.
Akon has his own city.
Yeah, and his
Bruh,
own.
He might be the
I don't-
Antichrist.
I don't believe it, bro.
He might be
You
the
a hater.
Antichrist.
I'm
And
not
you
hating.
African,
I'm
you
not
a
hating.
hater.
I'm not hating it. It's because how do we not hear about it until now? You know what I'm saying?
Because you're a hater. The last thing I'll say about Kanye
How
West.
does a nigga have his own city, bro? And he get powered by himself. That's impossible.
The last thing I say about Kanye West is that he just, I genuinely hope that he just finds help, man. And before he walks through those pearly gates and have Judgment Day, I hope he just flipped the script. You know what I'm saying? I'll give him one more album as far as for musically, just because that's just how much I fuck with Kanye, Omari West. But at this point, you know what I'm saying? I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm done.
I'm not listening to him anymore musically. If I catch it, I catch it. But I will just say that
Y'all
I do.
You sound like it's AIDS or some shit.
Y'all lying.
If I catch it, I catch it. Like
If I
what,
catch
nigga?
it, I catch it.
No, it
Hey,
don't work
I'll
like
fuck
that.
around though.
Like,
I'll say this though, as far as Kanye, I do hope he gets better. I do hope this is really like, you know what I'm saying? You don't. That's the last straw with black folks when you mess with Christianity.
You mess
know
with
what I'm saying?
God.
Like,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it's like, that's the last straw. Like if this goes any more left than what it's already been, then like yeah, I'm not saying I'll cancel niggas because you can't cancel somebody, but
speaking
I'm
of the
done.
last straw, that's how I feel about Portland Trailblazers. It's just like so what you
Alright,
get,
bruh, this is- you-
CJ and Dame. You get Carmelo Anthony. I'm done.
Bruh, we can go on
done.
Dead End Sports with that, bro. But say
Melo-
Melo's a
I
legend.
pray to God
Since Melo
Dead End
got
Sports
to
doesn't
our
waste their
team.
time on Carmelo Anthony.
You know, if I'm on
Since-
there, we talk about it.
Since Melo got to our team,
They've been losing before then. Shut
we
the fuck
have
up.
lost
All right.
Come on,
all games.
preach a swap.
We've lost every single game.
Who else has been out of that team? That's a big part.
Jesus,
the
'cause
main,
that's
the
who
best
y'all
player
need.
on that team.
Lillard was
Jesus.
back tonight, and you know what?
They still
Carmelo
lost.
took 15 of his shots.
No, he didn't.
Carmelo took 15 shots.
I'm looking at the update right now on ESPN. I'm literally looking at TV. Cavaliers defeat Trailblazers 110 to 104.
That's fucking disgraceful.
We're done. That's no disrespect right there.
Lillard was 7 for 20. So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it wasn't a great game overall. So
They-
don't try to frame it anywhere else.
They need Jesus.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Y'all was losing before
He
Melo.
can do that. He can do that. We can't have Melo doing that too. That's not why we picked you up. You can't be missing just as much as our
Y'all know
superstar misses on
Melo-
his worst day.
It's still early in the season, bro. It's still
Melo
early.
getting paid
It is early, so we need to get rid of him.
$14K a day, not guaranteed. Let me tell you, you better play like it's your last ass, like La on the line.
I'm buying a Blazer jersey, and that will do it for us this week.
Last quarter, Kanye. La 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 la. La 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 la.
It's still gonna tell your big.
See how we looped it all around?
Whatever.
No, hold on. What's your best Kanye quote, Nick?
Damn. What was the best Kanye quote I got?
People be asking me, "Who do you think you are?" I just told you. I think I'm a god.
I was gonna,
He sound dead on him
I
though.
was gonna say, you ain't got the answers, Sway. You ain't got the answers.
It ain't Ralph though. Question: what the fuck does Lady Gaga know about photos?
He said I'm the Walt Disney of rap.
And
I'm the
George Bush
Tupac
hate black people.
of fashion. Like, nigga.
He hopped right back off the Kanye train.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm off again. But yeah, that's us for this week. Chill, where can they find you at, bro?
You can find me at Chilldell, ChillDeeill, or at The Moonmen.
That Twitter and Instagram?
Twitter and Instagram, THA Moonmen.
So,
You already know where you can get me at. Follow me at Tell My Baby I'm Back in Town. Sorry, no. You can follow me at SWAFF. That's SWAFF.
all right, bro. You can catch us at NDR513 on IG and Twitter. And you also can catch me directly at WESISI number 11 on IG and Twitter. I'm also doing, as we talked about earlier, I'm on Dead End Sports. I'm on Frames Per Second. And yeah, watch out for Is the Mic Still On? The last couple episodes have been good.
Come on.
I've been hollering on them. So I gotta slow down.
Is the mic still on? Is the mic still on?
Bro, chill out. All right, that's us for this week. We out. Peace.